Coming up on Locked On NBA Daily, Giannis made his return to the Bucks last night, but is it too little, too late for him to help the Bucks make a push for the playoffs? We'll talk about the path forward in Milwaukee. Plus, do the Rockets need to pivot into a youth movement, and why Trae Young is already making waves in Washington? Locked On NBA Daily starts now.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. However you're tuning in on YouTube or on your podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. I'm Wes Goldberg, and today we're talking about Giannis and the Bucks and their path forward for the rest of this season as they make a push for the playoffs. We'll also talk about a potential change to Houston's starting lineup and what we expect Trae Young to look like in Washington. We're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast, senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
I watched the Nuggets have to scrap out a win versus the Jazz last night, and I will just say that my big takeaway from that is, like, the Jazz are going to be really good next year. They're just going to be really good. Get on board. Keontae George is going to be awesome. He's going to win Most Improved Player next year, even though he should win it this year.
100% agree with the Most Improved take there. From the Locked On Bulls podcast, also a Bulls and Bears creator for Bleacher Report, it's Haize.
I'm just ready to talk some basketball. There's a lot of things we got on the deck today, and I'm feeling extraordinarily petty today, so we'll see where it takes us.
I'm excited to see. Let's jump right into the big story from last night. Giannis makes his return to the Milwaukee Bucks after the longest injury absence of his career. Good news, Giannis looked pretty good. Bad news, the Bucks got crushed by a Celtics team that was missing Jaylen Brown, obviously no Jason Tatum, and playing on the second night of a back-to-back. Giannis has said that he wants to make the playoffs this season. And you can make the argument that nobody wants to see a Giannis-led Bucks team in any playoff series, no matter what seed that they are. However, they're now 3.5 games out of the 10th spot with a lot of hill to climb, trying to catch teams like Charlotte at 10, which they're probably not going to do as Charlotte keeps rising up the standings, Atlanta there at 9. That begs the question about how they should handle the rest of this season. They talked about it on Locked On Bucks. Let's play that clip.
And now you find yourself 3.5 games out of the 10 seed. It's still playable. It's still in reach. I think the goal ultimately is figuring out who, if anyone on this roster, is built to actually stay on this roster going forward. Who makes sense around Giannis if we're trying to keep Giannis? What players make sense? That's like my viewpoint on it. Whether that results in wins or losses, so be it. So for me, I think my pathway forward is more so of like, let's just get these young dudes some run. Let's see what it looks like. If it results in wins from that, cool. If not,
Haize, I'm excited to see how you make this petty. How should the Bucks go forward for the rest of this season?
Embrace being, well, like, I can't even say embrace being bad. They're bad. Whether they embrace it or not, they're a bad basketball team. The best path forward for them either way, whether Giannis likes it or not, is for them to get a lottery pick this year. It's for them to get the highest pick possible, whether it is to add a nice young talent to pair with Giannis or it's to get ready to move on from Giannis, which is what they really should be doing, is just going ahead and ripping off the Band-Aid and moving on from Giannis, which is going to be the best for their franchise. There's no good that I think comes out of this for them other than, if you want to say, a moral victory of them making the play-in this season, in my personal opinion.
I think that you've got to be able to show Giannis that you're operating in good faith towards competing, and I don't think he is going to agree with tanking. I think he's going to be like, give me all the superstar players are like, just give me a chance. They all think like, you give me the Warriors are doing this too. You give me in the play-in tournament, we'll make a run. No, you won't. That's not what happens. Charlotte Brown did not have Hose. Like, that's just not what happens. And so I get it. The idea of like tanking and then get the pick. I don't understand they could add a lottery pick. Ooh, an 18-year-old. Now I want to stay. Come on. But I am of the opinion, like, I get going for it. The other thing is, like, let's just not act like this is an insurmountable thing. It's 4 losses to a team. All these teams are on the precipice. Like, Miami could absolutely tailspin. Charlotte could wake up one day and be like, oh, we're not like the best team in basketball over the last 3 months. And Atlanta has played better basketball as of late. Their defensive rating has been absolutely insane. But I don't trust the Hawks. Does anyone trust the Hawks? You can get in. If you get in, you have some what you want to do,
though, Matt. Like, I get what you're saying as far as Giannis won't agree. Well, who cares what the hell Giannis agrees with? You have to, like, okay, cool, Giannis, you made it to the play-in. What does that matter?
Okay.
What does that get you? It gets you nothing. Like, you want to compete for a title, you have to add talent to it. At some point, even Luka understood when the Mavs had to sit to increase their draft odds, which then led them to getting Derek Lively and making moves. If Giannis is so caught up in competing for the play-in being something meaningful when it's not, and that's the downside about the play-in. Teams have allowed the play-in to make them think they're really closer than what they are. Cool, you get to the play-in, now what? Giannis is going to ask for a trade when he realizes you're not good next year?
Well, two things. One, you got to remember that beer garden season in Dallas is absolutely incredible in March. So it wasn't a real hard sell on Luka. Two, I think that if we look at, again, the question here, and this has been one that I pose to Bucks fans pretty consistently, is any possibility of keeping Giannis better than improving your chances for the long term? And most of them say yes. Like, if the goal is keep Giannis at,
and this is why fans do not make basketball decisions.
But I understand it I actually understand this though, right? Because look, man, if you're like, look, he's going to leave anyway, let's try and mitigate the damage. What's the point? You're going to get fired anyway, and the team is only going to be mid. You're never getting Giannis.
But here's the thing, though, Matt. Like, the thing is like, what? Even if you want to convince yourself the best chance to keep Giannis, do you think it's better a chance to keep Giannis to say we made a plan, but we're still bad in the East, and oh, by the way, the Pacers have gotten better. Potentially, the Raptors can get better. All this type of stuff. We don't have leverage to make a move, or do you think it's a better chance to keep to keep Giannis and say, hey, we have a chance to add a top 10 pick to this team. Even if we don't draft that player, we can trade this pick and use that to get the veteran that can help you actually go on a run here.
I mean, look, they are at, for a chance of a top 4 pick, they are at 14% right now. They'd have to drop down and pass Chicago if they tank. I don't know if that's possible. That gets them another 6% chance. That means they have a 1 in 5 chance of landing top 4. Like, this is where I get frustrated, where I'm just like, why are we doing like all of these things to improve, to increase marginal chances that you wind up with an 18-year-old? And you can trade the pick. I get that idea. What if there's nobody? Here's the other question though, Haize, is all right, let's say you're like, well, we're gonna try and keep Giannis. Like, let's take that flow. You want to keep Giannis. The best way to do that is to tank, get a good pick, and use that to add talent. What player? Because you need sign off. You can't trade for a guy, a superstar, if he's like, I don't want to go there. I don't know if Giannis is going to be there. What superstar is like, yeah, sign me up for you to trade that pick for? Who are you getting?
I mean, yeah, but there's one do we expect James Harden to be moved to the Cavs this season? There's always a star every summer that looks at the situation with their team, and whether it's by them or the team deciding to move on. And I get it. You can say, you don't even have Giannis under contract for that much longer. So even if you can Kawhi Leonard this thing with the Raptors, you know what I respect about the Raptors? They knew Kawhi wasn't going to come. They took the chance, and they got a title out of it.
I'm going to jump in here because Giannis was asked about sort of making this playoff push, and he just kept deflecting after the game, saying, I'm just happy to be back out there on the court. So he's not at least putting those expectations out there publicly, at least not right now. The other thing we know about Giannis is he could say one thing and then say something else or change his mind or whatever. At the end of the day, loyalty to Milwaukee has trumped all other things. And so maybe if you're the Bucks, you just say, do we just sort of bank on him being loyal no matter what we do here, tanking not? The other part of this too, and I guess, and nobody has said this yet, what's the difference for the Milwaukee Bucks, regardless of how they approach the season? It's not like they have a bunch of awesome vets that they're going to bench. Like, is it really going to hurt their tanking chances if they play Kyle Kuzma a bunch of minutes? No, probably not. This team has not been very good all year. The real question is whether or not you rest Giannis down the stretch. And as we know, Giannis is not, after missing as much time, he's not going to just willingly miss games. So I don't know that these conversations are mutually exclusive.
Look, the other thing is, after last night, they're 15-15, or they're 15-16 with Giannis this season. When Giannis has played, they're a 500 team, and you go, ooh, that's still probably a play-in team. That's like, and there's actually some upward trajectory here. Don't get caught up in what happened last night. I say this every single time a major superstar comes back. You throw a high usage guy into a system and nobody knows what they're doing. They haven't played with Giannis in 2 months, and they're like, how do we do this again?
Some of these guys have never played with Giannis. Ousmane Dieng and Cam Thomas have never played with him.
There's no way this ends well, Haize. That's your point, and I'm with you. There's no way this ends well. We are debating the best of terrible options. That's all we're really debating here.
Ousmane Dieng looks pretty good.
He does look pretty good.
It's been an up and down season for the Houston Rockets. The host of Locked On Rockets argues that it's time for a starting lineup change that's long overdue. We're going to talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position that you have still sitting open when pressure's on and you need the right hire. This is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute that I'll be talking to you, companies like yours will make 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying that you heard about it. You heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube. We air Monday to Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, wherever you get your podcast. It's time to ask the real question about a bunch of NBA stories. Let's start in Houston, where Reed Sheppard scored 19 points off the bench, including 9 in the fourth quarter, to give the Rockets a closer than comfortable win over the Wizards last night. Here's more from Locked On Rockets.
Meanwhile, with Reed Sheppard, you see the attention to detail. You see how defenses are treating him as a legitimate threat from the perimeter. That shooting gravity, that passing gravity, it's on display every single time they run a pick and roll. And Reed has gotten better and better. And this is one of my biggest gripes for this Rocket season is the Rockets should have been spamming Alperen Şengün, Reed Sheppard pick and roll 40 games ago. So I guess it's better late than never to see it start taking off now. But it's also wildly disappointing because Ime Udoka said before the game, before tip-off even happened, he'd already made up his mind that next game against the Golden State Warriors on Thursday night, the Rockets are going back to the quote-unquote original lineup. But I still, to this point, cannot fathom how the coaching staff looks at what Reed Sheppard brings to the table as a starter and thinks, nah, we'll move him back to the bench. He unlocks everybody else.
So, Matt, it's time for the real question.
What is real?
Do the Rockets need to lean into this youth movement? Start Reed Sheppard.
Okay. I don't know how to answer this because I don't know. The question it's should the Rockets, okay, who are we asking here? All right. If you're asking the front office, yes, absolutely. If you're asking the fans, probably, because it's like a more sustainable path to success. If you're asking Kevin Durant, probably not. If you're asking Ime Udoka, definitely not. Everyone's got different agendas and everyone's got different pathways. What is best for them in Houston? This is a big thing. You have to have agenda alignment. As a side note, before we continue, I just really want to stress here. I hate it when media, Locked On hosts, fans online, guys, it's the Wizards. Can we not sit here and be like, it just goes to show you how good Reed Sheppard and Alperen Şengün can be. You're facing the Wizards. Do it next year. Fine. None of those results are real. Take those games against these teams that don't want to win and remove them from your sample. You cannot do this. I am a little skeptical of Şengün and Sheppard together. I do not know how you get that to be defensively good enough for you to survive in a playoff environment. If you want to win a championship, if you want to be like a slow building good team and eventually get there, sure. If you have 5 years, if you have 5 years, you have to trade Kevin Durant this summer. Are you going to do that? Because it sounds like you're going to commit to him long term. There is no alignment in Houston, and that is the problem here.
Haize?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of alignment. There's problems. There's no doubt that there's big problems there, and they're gonna have to try to figure out. Do they need to lean more into the youth movement? I think they do need to trust their young players. Amin Thompson, Jabari, they need to trust those guys. Tari Eason a little bit more, but at the end of the day, too, like you have to show it. And they have been a very inconsistent team overall. I still think they're missing an actual point guard to bring that all together. I think we look at this team very different if they had a point guard to help them bring things together. I think they've done about as good of a job as they can do, overcoming it, but they just don't do a great job at it.
Yeah, the Fred VanVleet shaped hole in the starting lineup is an obvious one. I kind of side with Jackson here in terms of having to start Reed Sheppard, because I just don't know if the Rockets want to ultimately win the championship. Do we really think they're going to do it with Josh Okogie playing all those minutes? Like, no offense to Okogie, but like,
Josh has been so good this year. I hate how
fine.
this has become a thing for Rockets fans.
Josh
Josh
okay.
has been really good.
He's hitting threes. He defends well. He hustles, but they're going to need one of these young guys to pop. Is my point.
Wes, what's going to happen in a playoff series when you play Reed Sheppard?
Well, he's going to get attacked defensively, but he's got good hands. He could get steals. He gets blocks all the time. He's one of the few guys who could space the floor. He pushes the pace. He generates points. I think he's a net positive for that Rockets team, even in a playoff.
The argument is that he's so good, and the data lines up with this. Like the numbers are like, well, look at that. And I get it. I'm just saying you can't completely throw out Udoka's position on this, where it's like it's obvious you need to play Reed Sheppard and Alperen Sengun and get absolutely burnt to a crisp defensively. You are going to get flambéed. Maybe your offense is good enough. There is no evidence that Houston's offense is going to be good enough for you to survive. How does Houston win games?
Well, that's the problem. It's defense and offensive rebounding, but those things went the other way since they had the injuries. So the argument could be made: you got to try to win games in a different way.
But their offense, I'll look it up. Their half-court offense is still horrendous. They don't have enough. Like, okay, if you want to do this, but then like this summer, you need to go Mike D'Antoni and bring in like nothing but shooters and just try and outscore everyone. How is that gone? I get the idea. Look, I think Reed's awesome and he's going to be a really good player. I see honestly, to swear to God, I see like Steve Nash stuff in him from a ball handling creation. Like if Nash was a little bit more just like shooting off the hip. I get it. Like he's really good. But then you move Alperen Sengun. I do not think you can put
I see your point there. Let's stay with that game here for a second. Trae Young ejected from that game from the bench. The funny part is he's already been ejected as a member of the Washington Wizards before having played a minute for the Washington Wizards. He is, however, set to make his debut on Thursday, which begs the real question.
What is real?
Haize, what do you need to see from Trae Young to feel better about this trade?
Him traded and moved. I think that's what I'm looking for. Here's the thing. Trae is fine at what he does. He's a very particular player. He's fine at what he does. If you commit to playing basketball Trae Young's way when he's on the court, I think that he could be effective. He's going to put up numbers one way or another. I just worry that Trae is going to get in the way of the development of the young players they already have here. There's if they play off each other, him, Trae Johnson, they start building something together. Maybe then, but I just think that we're going to see the exact same thing we saw in Atlanta with Trae Young here in Washington. He's just not going to fit in with these young guys.
I don't know. I think Trae's still got really good games probably left in him. And I think we've probably gone a little bit too far on him. I think trying to figure out how to cover for him defensively is difficult, right? But a good starting point is Anthony Davis. I don't know if Davis is going to play. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm always skeptical of his availability and his overall game. The fit with Trae is really good. The other thing I will say is if you're going to build a team around Trae, and Atlanta just went too halfway with this, where it was like, well, we need defensive players, but like pretty good defensive players that have great offense. No. You need elite defensive players around Trae. You need 4 elite defenders around Trae. And I don't know if Trae Johnson can be that, but I do know that Keyshawn George can be that. And I do know that Alex Sarr can be that. And I do know that Anthony Davis can be that. So you got 3, and then you just got to figure out the other spot, and you might be able to make this work. I love that Trae is leaning into the leadership stuff here. This reminded me last night on the Utah bench, Kevin Love and Jaren Jackson were like up on every single play, yelling, talking to the guys, arguing calls. Like there's investment, and you need that in your organization. You need this kind of leadership. I think it's going to be beneficial. The other thing that we should probably talk about, Mark Stein reported the deal is going to be 3 years this summer for Trae Young. This is phenomenal. Think about this, Haize. They're only going to it's going to be like 2 more years after this one. He's going to decline the player option, sign a 3-year extension. It's 2 years more and then out. It's a short window as the young guys get better and they evolve out of it. That's like the perfect window for Trae, man.
There's no perfect window for Trae. The windows are too high for Trae. He has to crawl into the basement.
He said he's going to bring the petty. To Matt's point, I do like the idea of, hey, when we have to hopefully pay these rookies who are going to be good and deserving of lots of money, Trae Young's money comes off the books and we can make a decision on Trae Young at that point. I remain higher on the Trae Young fit just in general. I think that there's something to be said about looking like a basketball team and acting like a basketball team while you're developing as a basketball team. And for the Wizards, I like a lot of their young talent, but
I love that they're playing him.
Team.
I love that they're going to play him.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, and it's a season ticket ploy, but I just like that the fans that go to these Wizards games are actually going to go and be able to be like, okay, all right. I'm excited for next year.
And they're going to be tired of Trae Young within the first 20 games of next season.
Let's revisit this.
Okay.
20 games into next season. I'm very excited for that. We have one more big return. Darius Garland made his Clippers debut last night. We're going to talk about that. Plus, take a look at some big games coming up tonight, including what could be the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. March is a time to celebrate women, especially around International Women's Day, and to recognize just how much they carry at work, in relationships, and families, and in all of the unseen roles that they step into every single day. We all have women who are important in our life. It's important not only to recognize them, but learn from their strength. I think about my mom and how much she carries without always saying so. It makes me think how many of us are doing the same thing. The roles that we play, the expectations that we carry, the pressure that we don't always talk about. Therapy can help with all of that, creating balance, setting healthy boundaries, and supporting your overall well-being. With over 30,000 licensed therapists and more than 6 million people served worldwide, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform. And it works. Fill out a short questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and if it's not the right fit, you could switch at any time. Your emotional well-being matters. Find support and feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by FanDuel. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay that you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your read. And you can make spreads, totals, player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply that profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Look at the odds around your team that you've been on all season. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team that you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Thanks for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every team. Check out Locked On Bucks and Locked On Rockets for more on today's top stories. Let's also talk about the Clippers. Darius Garland made his Clippers debut last night, 12 points, 2 assists, and 23 minutes off the bench as they manage his minutes. The real question, however,
what is real?
With how Kawhi is playing and what we're already seeing that they're getting from Benedict Mathurin, who also came over from Indiana at the trade deadline. Matt, do you like this Clippers team better now or before the deadline?
I like it about the same. I like about the same as far as like any team that has Kawhi Leonard as its best player and the team and the player that they lean on, which is just like, you're not going to have leadership. You're not going to have any sort of culture, and you're not going to have a reliability. So it's great that he's playing awesome and they can, maybe make some noise in the play-in tournament. It's not going to shock me if they go on a run. Like, you wouldn't, if you told me like, oh, the Clippers made the conference finals, I'd be like, oh, okay. So a lot of teams had like a bad time in the playoffs, but I think a lot of the West below OKC, San Antonio, and even San Antonio, I think have a lot of vulnerability. So I'm not gonna be like shocked. I think Garland can be really good. He's shown he can be really good. I really like some of their young talent, and I like that they're leaning in on that. I like a lot of their young guys. So I like them about the same. I'm not like moved on any of this. Zoo is really good, but I like that they've pivoted to open up their window a little bit wider. But I'm also not like, oh man, the Clippers are a team we should take seriously. They can make a run, but it will ultimately fall short.
I like them a little bit more by the tiniest of margins, mainly because like if Kawhi Leonard's fully healthy, their ceiling is about the same. But one of the questions that I did have, especially, was their age. I think that the age would have been a factor for them if they made it in the playoff, depending on the matchup and in playoff series. So now that you do have a little bit more youth around Kawhi Leonard and two guys that can absolutely fill it up with Ben Mathurin and Darius Garland when they get hot, I like them a little bit more. Now they don't have Zubac anymore, which that changes a lot there for me, as well as far as their ceiling. So I think it all evens out in the wash where I like them just a little bit more, but not by a huge margin.
think I'm with you, Haize. I love Zubac. I loved everything he brought to that team the last couple of years. The way the Mathurin looks, if you bring him back, I think that could be a real player for them. And they got two first-round picks for Zubac. I mean, that trade could end up looking really good for them and could be good for Indiana, who's obviously in the middle of their championship window too. Let's look ahead to tonight's games. The big one, Detroit at Cleveland. The Cavs, 2.5-point underdogs to the Pistons at home, probably because Donovan Mitchell is out in this game. Matt, what are you watching for in this one?
I'm a little concerned that the Cavaliers are going to be back in this like halfway thing. So they hung with them last week when Harden was out because they were just playing all defensive guys, right? Like Keon Ellis was incredible in that game. Evan Mobley had a big performance. It was a defensive game. And that's really where like that's meeting Detroit where they live at. And you can actually, I think, win. Trying to beat them with offense, I'm not as confident in. And now with Harden back and how they're going to play, it's probably going to be a little bit more of a mixed result. Whenever that happens, I like Detroit. The Cavaliers this season are absolutely wretched versus top 10 defenses. They have been horrendous. Their numbers back this up. They have their offense falls off a cliff and their defense isn't able to hold up either. I actually think this is going to be a stomp spot for Detroit. I think Detroit wins by 15 plus tonight.
Haize?
I don't know about 15 plus just because, I mean, you never know how things are going to go any given night, but I have Detroit winning this one for sure. Not even just because Donovan Mitchell's out. Like, I just, Detroit's, they're stealing offensively, defensively, how good they play, how connected they are as a team at this point. I think they're in a really good rhythm. I think they beat the Cavs pretty easily today.
Dennis Schroeder versus Isaiah Stewart tonight in the bench minutes.
Let's go. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley had monster games the last time these teams played a few days ago. That game went to overtime. Cade Cunningham ended up falling out. Weird game overall, but having at least Harden back for this one should be helpful. Neither Harden nor Mitchell played in the last time that these teams played, again, a couple days ago. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The other game on the board, Spurs at Sixers. Now, Joel Embiid is out, so we're not going to get Victor Wembanyama versus Joel Embiid, which would have been a lot of fun. Philadelphia, 8-point underdogs again at home. A couple of home dogs that we're talking about right now. But Haize, what are you watching for in this one as the Spurs keep trying to get back on the winning streak that got snapped by the Knicks the other night?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Spurs just how good they continue to be. I don't think they're going to slow down anytime soon. I like both these teams. Make no mistake about it. But I think I'm looking for the Spurs and just how well they come in here and take care of business because this is your tune-up now. You're getting ready for the playoffs, and I'm really looking at a young team like the Spurs who don't have any playoff experience at all at this point. How they prepare in these matchups.
Haize, I want to ask you because I also haven't done the work on this. What do you feel like on the Sixers defensive side? Do you feel like they have what do you think is their strength defensively?
Their strength defensively?
Yeah.
Rebounding and communication, I would say.
Yeah. It's like it's not I don't have like a real good sense. They're 16th in defensive rating. The numbers are all kind of like they have a real problem with defensive rebounding. That's an issue, right? Mm-hmm. This is gonna be a speed game. It's gonna be really fast because you've got Maxey without Embiid. They run a little bit more when Embiid's out. And then the Spurs are just lightning fast. That was one of the surprising things about Sunday's loss to the Knicks. And I wonder if it was the matinee spot, is their transition stuff just fell apart on both ends where the Spurs have been really good this season. I'm just kind of curious to see if the Sixers can actually guard the speed of the guards for San Antonio on the perimeter. Because I feel like you're going to need to be able to demonstrate that. Like we're getting down to it. We're inside 20 games. Playoffs are in sight. I need to start seeing it. The Sixers have a little bit of upset ability here. Mm-hmm. Like they've got a bit of a chance to maybe make some noise and cause a ruckus, but I'm going to need to see that they can actually handle specific kind of problems now. It's no longer just like, are they going to have Embiid? Like what's going to happen? Like now I'm like, all right, if we're going to assume that you're going to have guys, I need to know, can you guard on the perimeter? Because that's where it starts, I think, for San Antonio, and that's where it starts for the Knicks too with Jalen Brunson. So a lot of these matchups are going to be based off of that. Mm-hmm. The Sixers have a good defensive night tonight versus the Spurs.
One thing we know, Nick Nurse will throw out like wacky defensive concepts. I mean, this is box and one in the 2019 finals and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I am interested to see how they guard Wemby from the tip in this one. Is it going to just be straight, we're going to throw Edembona at you? Or is he say, hey, Kelly Oubre, go nuts or whatever? Like he could do something wacky here. I wouldn't put it past him for the exact point that you're making, Matt. One other thing that I'm watching here, Victor Wembanyama, it's been not to sound like taking Wembanyama for granted here. It's been a little while since we had like a big Wemby game that everybody's talking about the next day. Is it, 25 points, 13 rebounds, 4 blocks against the Knicks the other night? Who cares? That's like commonplace now for Wemby. Like, where are we going to get another big 30-point 8 block game, something crazy from Wemby. Without Embiid, maybe there's potential there tonight for a big box score from him. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA Daily.